Here we go, man. What's good, y'all?
What's good?
Is it even working? All right, here we go. All right, it's counting down. Don't worry.
You back on that.
Hey, sometimes you gotta play that verbal judo, bro. You know what I mean?
Man.
Like,
hey man,
you got to, man. You got to.
Mike is the master of it, man. Mike is the master. Hey,
Woo.
not give out the tricks of the trade, man.
Can't give up the secrets, man. Come on.
Man, that's the Krabby Patty formula right there, man. For real.
Somebody gonna figure me out one day, bro.
Hey, it's gonna be too late, man. It's gonna be too late.
Man, don't forget to clock in, like the thumbs, man. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, man. We appreciate y'all. Let's get the show started. Here we go.
Great Pharaoh, the gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the 5 rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
One of them hits now. Heard back from Earth, just shot a few of my ships down. It's safe to say I'm totally pissed. Wow. My cloaking devices just malfunction. Guess it's time for a sit down. This is the problem I got with humans, mostly the common man. Constantly fucking with energy they don't understand. Always thinking they got the upper hand. The G-forces for my maneuvers can snap your spine like a rubber band. I shouldn't waste my time, they ain't half as nice. Put a Red Bull in your coffin so your ghost can have wings in the afterlife. Let's rock and roll like a belly dancer's rhinestone. It was my idea to shake the pineal gland like a pine cone. My thoughts create hurricanes, tornadoes, and cyclones. A punch for me is like an avalanche of granite and limestone. You live here, but now this is my home. I neuralize both your retinas, you wake up staring at the screen of your iPhone. Confused by the light plus the high tone. And now we connected from the microchip I placed next to your thigh bone. It's hard to understand cause you're mind blown, but I gotta cut communication. Your government just scrambled they spy drones.
That voice speaking Sumerian, the oldest language in human history. I can't explain it.
What's going on? We back. We back, man. It's around the shield, man. You already know, man. We got Big Mike Raider. We got the Severe Raider and myself, the Pharaoh NFL, man. We're going to have a great show, man. Appreciate everybody coming through, man. We got a lot to talk about. You know, second week of training camp, first week of padded practice. Man, we got a few things to talk about today, man. But how's everybody doing, man? So, Mike, what's going on? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, man. This season, we getting closer and closer to the season. We got preseason ball next week, and the Raiders are figuring things out, man. It's a good day to be the Raider, man.
Hey, that's what's up, Severe. What's going on with you?
Oh man, same old man. You know, it was itching to see this first preseason game. It's a week from today, man. The 10th revenge game against the Vikings. You know, we got to put up more than 3 points, baby. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Let's do it, man. Hey, man, it's at the end of the week, you know what I mean? But it's a great time. It's a great time to actually like look back and talk about what happened because there's a lot happened. You know what I mean? Like I said, it was the second week of training camp, first week of padded practice, and it was an opportunity for like, I think we were kind of waiting for the offense to wake up a little bit. I think we got that a little bit this week, especially with the pads, especially when you got the offensive line who need that physicality. Because man, we all know how talented that D line is, and if you don't give them any type of, if you can't touch them, then Max Crosby's gonna have his way, Kuntz is gonna have his way, Christian Wilkins is gonna have his way. But so I think it kind of it evened the playing field a little bit. But what are your Mike? What were your thoughts on the first week of padded practice with the Raiders?
Man, you said it yourself, man. This offense was sick and tired of being sick and tired. They were getting picked on. They were being told that they're, you know, a lot less of a unit than the defense on the other side, you know, and they finally woke up a little bit. We're starting to see this offense gel, and, you know, starting with that offensive line. You know, they're battling back and forth with the D line, and it's one of those iron sharpening iron situations all over again. What we've been talking about this offseason. You're starting to see this offense getting tired of hearing what the defense is doing and what the offense isn't doing, and they're looking in the mirror and they're like, all right, we need to figure this out. Let's get it done. And they're doing that, and we're seeing the beginning stages of that. Now, I'm not saying the offense is going to be well ahead of the defense when it's all said and done, but we just need a competent offense to when they go out there on Sundays to get the job done and let the defense carry the load, or at least the majority of the load when it's all said and done. Get the defense to win us games.
Yeah. And another thing too, like it also gets the padded practices too, gets the run game involved.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm sure it's not the same as in game. We all know, like with all the rules and things that the NFL has enforced over the years, like the run game is not going to be the same in training camp like it was in years past. But like the game is going to be the final, look on how the run game is going to look. But at least you add a little physicality. The quarterbacks looked a little bit better. You know what I mean? When we're talking about Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, and we'll get into talk about, we'll talk about them a little bit more. But yeah, I feel like they played a little bit better. What was concerning though, I'm not gonna lie, Trey Tucker is a guy that we heard about all off season and how like he's had a great off season and this, that, and the third. But all I'm hearing, and hopefully this is not a sign of what's to come, but the drops. He has a bad case of the drops of training camp so far. So hopefully he can clean that up. But I've heard that he's been struggling with catching the ball, especially with Aiden O'Connell, like, in a heated battle with Minshew, and they're saying Minshew looked a little bit better, but then they put an asterisk on Aiden O'Connell because they said Tucker kind of dropped a few balls that he threw. So it's like that's tough to hear. And then you got guys like Dylan Lobby who are continuing to show that they belong out there. I know Mike this week you mentioned you're calling it out. You're saying that he's gonna eventually take that number 2 spot, not that number 3 spot. You said eventually this season he's gonna take that number 2 spot, which is wow. That's a big prediction right there. Huge prediction. But let the people know why you think that he's gonna take that number 2 spot and not settle. I think he has a really good chance of taking that number 3 spot away from the way the coaches are talking about him. The fact that they obviously invested a draft pick in the 6th round, but I know it's just a 6th round pick. But Amir Abdullah, I don't think they have too much invested in him. And if they feel like they got a young player that's as talented as Dylan Lobby, they're gonna put him out there. So I think he can take that 3rd spot. But what makes you think that he could take that 2nd spot?
I think it's all upside, and I think it's the way he's being developed. He's constantly going out. Each time he gets out on the field, he's getting better. Mm-hmm. We hear reports from him every practice that he's, what he brings to the table. His, he's quick, not the speediest dude in the world, but he's real quick, and he's starting to get acclimated to the pro speed. And as the weeks progress, I see him kind of still progressing and getting up, climbing that ladder and getting to a situation where he's going to be thrusted in a running back 2 situation. Now, it kind of cooled off a little bit. I did hear some reports saying that Madison is having a good camp. So that was kind of also my reason why I did say that Lobby was going to, eventually hit that running back 2 spot, because we didn't hear much about what Madison was doing in camp. Until recently coming up. Yeah. And recently, like they said that he's having a good camp quietly. So, take it with a grain of salt. We'll see what's going to happen, as the season progresses, as preseason goes and camp goes along. But just the upside and just, what he brings to the table, his development and things like that. I think that he's going to be in a situation where maybe if it's the middle of the season or at the back end of the season, he's going to see himself in the running back 2 spot. Yeah.
Man. I hope so. That's a good sign. If a 6th round pick takes over at that number 3, if not that number 3 spot, that number 2 spot, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. But like you said, Madison is putting up fight up there. He is a veteran. We'll see what the coaching staff thinks, because there are always going to be surprise cuts in training camp. So we'll see. But Severe, man, so far so good with this rookie draft class right now, man. Like, we're hearing a lot of good things, man. And to let's go. I was a little skeptical, but hey, look, at the end of the day, I gotta call it like I see it right now. So far so good with the players that we got in free agency, but most importantly, the draft class. From Bowers, Jackson Power Johnson, who hasn't, practiced yet, but we know he's going to be a baller over there. Even DJ Glaze. Obviously, we just talked about Lobby, like Eichenberg. I know you're not big on that pick, but he's playing well. Yes, he's playing well. The corners that they drafted, the safeties. I've seen some guys talk about, Trey Taylor. And said that they probably would have drafted him like maybe in the 5th round, let alone the 7th round. So there's people who really like Trey Taylor. What are your early thoughts on the draft class so far? Because from what it sounds like, they're playing well. They're living up to everything that the Raiders thought they could get out of them.
Yeah, man. Before I speak on this, I might have to go to the kitchen and grab me some Red Rooster, bro. So I'm gonna have to eat a little bit of crow. Man. I will say that, like I had my issues with Brock Bowers. I think I kind of explained that ad nauseum, and I think I've always said, like, I didn't really have a problem with the prospect. I more so had a problem with the pick, and but part of that was predicated on the fact that I felt that higher priority was getting a number 2 cornerback, and higher priority was getting the right tackle. And but the emergence of Jacorian Bennett, if he continues to play this way, and even the kind of the emergence of DJ Glaze, who we were able to get later on, if those guys continue on this trajectory, then that Brock Bowers picks looks that much better, because our two biggest needs that I felt we had on the team at right tackle and at number 2 cornerback, we found solutions, right? Whether that was the last regime with Jacorian Bennett, who I think a lot of people last year, that was our favorite draft pick, and he just didn't have the year that we expected. And then DJ Glaze was a guy who I felt we overdrafted, but who has been showing well. Got thrown into the fire and had a good day. Now, I read that Max Crosby took offense to that, and so but still, that is Max Crosby, who is one of the best players in the NFL. Who we will get into that later. And then even DeCamerion Richardson, DJ Glaze and DeCamerion Richardson were probably my 2 least favorite picks of this draft class, and both of those guys have shown well. Still kind of wait and see on DeCamerion, because I think Jacorian, he showed well in camp last year, and that didn't necessarily materialize into having a good season. But if all things go according to plan, we probably don't need to see DeCamerion Richardson on the field this year. So I think he will have time to develop. But and then Tommy Eichenberg, right? I still have my same opinion that if it comes to, would I rather take a chance on a guy who can be a pretty good NFL linebacker, or a quarterback who at one point was considered a top 10 pick in this draft class, before he had his issues at Oklahoma? I'm going with the quarterback. I'm going with the quarterback that, by who some said, might have the most arm talent in this draft, who was already turning heads, with this new team. And some people are saying at some point he's going to be challenging for QB1 snaps, right? I would rather take a chance on a guy like that, especially at that position of such high value in the NFL, than on a guy that's a linebacker. And Tommy Eichenberg can turn into a very good linebacker. But if he turns into a very good linebacker and Spencer Rattler turns into a very good quarterback, I mean, I think we all know who we would rather have in that situation. So, but like I said, I'd rather be wrong about a guy and he play well for the team than be right and the guy that doesn't play well. Then Trey Taylor, I mean, it's still a mixed bag with Trey Taylor. I've heard some people say they would have drafted him much earlier than he should have been drafted, but I've also heard people, conversely say they wouldn't draft him at all. He'd be a priority free agent in their opinion. So I've heard both sides of that opinion from people I trust. So. But I've heard he's been having a pretty solid camp, and he might be a guy we depend on, especially when we play a lot of nickel. We still want to have a guy that has some downfield ability, some ability to cover those short areas, and still have good instincts and be able to make plays on the ball. I think we're dependent on Polamalu to do that, and I think Trey Taylor would be another guy who we might want to put in a situation. And I also expect him to be a guy that makes a lot of contributions on special teams as well. And we all know how I feel about Dylan Lobby, right? I may not have been the first in Raider Nation to talk about Dylan Lobby, but I was definitely one of the first people to talk about Dylan Lobby. And he's a guy that continues to impress. Some people saying he's baby Christian McCaffrey. I wouldn't go that far. But I think he's a guy that is definitely, me and Pharaoh talked about it previously. I think he is going to be our RB3. I think he's going to push, like, Sincere, you don't got a roster spot anymore, bro. Britton Brown, you don't got a roster spot no more, brother. Amir Abdullah, you may stick around just for special teams, but there's a good chance he doesn't have a roster spot either. So I think overall, man,
is he still with the Raiders?
I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah, he's still with the Raiders
for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. So
That's the running joke, right?
I can't. Tommy Telescope, man. Tommy Telescope. He did a good job, man. And I'm also happy to hear that guys we drafted last year. Those guys, for the most part, are taking a step forward. For the most part, I put an emphasis on for the most part. We're hearing good things about Jacorian Bennett. We're hearing good things about Byron Young. We were hearing good things about Trey Tucker until recently, but Jamar Chase had some drops, especially his first training camp. He had a case of the drops, and then got into the regular season, and he cleaned it up. So we've seen Trey Tucker. We know the kind of work he put in. We know he's basically attached, to Devontae Adams I'm surprised he didn't go back to the hospital with Devontae to watch the kid being born at this point, because they've been that close, and that attached at the hip. So hopefully he's able to get past these struggles and able to have a good season. I think, just adding him into the mix is going to be very important to what we're able to do on this team. So, man, all in all, hey, man, Tommy T, I give you props, brother. I give you props.
Got to, man. We got to keep it real. And the biggest thing too, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, is the fact that like none of these guys really have to start. Outside of Bowers and Jackson Powers Johnson, those are like the only guys that the Raiders probably going to be contributing or going to be counting on to start.
Yeah.
And outside of that, everybody else is depth. And the fact that these guys are showing up this early is a good sign in their development and for their future with the team as well. So we'll see, man, because if you're talking about Trey Taylor, the safety room is already solidified. But, if he plays well, then it kind of makes it might make that safety, it might make Morrig a little bit expendable. Who knows? It might make Epps expendable. Who knows if Trey Taylor develops into a player that the Raiders can count on. Or if you're looking at the running back spot, or if you're looking at that tackle spot with DJ Glaze. Like, obviously, right now, Thayer Munford has that spot, but DJ Glaze, a lot of people have a lot of good things to say, man. Munford went down. He comes in, goes up against, Max Crosby, and he's holding his own. They didn't say he didn't get. Usually when we hear like a rookie player going up against Max Crosby, what do we hear? Oh, man, Max Crosby destroyed him.
Exactly.
Like, he did everything that he could do to a player and embarrass him. What did we hear last year? One of the funny stories in camp was when Mayer was matched up to block him, and Max Crosby made him look like he was nothing, like like a rag doll, right? But the rookies right now, they're showing up well, which speaks to the Raiders' depth, and I think that's a sign of a good team. Is a team that has depth. So, like you said, man, shout out to Tommy T, man. I
just thought of something, man. If you really want to piss off Max Crosby, just hit him up on X and just be like, "Hey, Glaze got you, man."
Yeah,
do it for the fuel the anger with
man.
him, man, because we're gonna need that week 1. So,
man,
hit him up on X, man. I'm calling for everybody to do that one.
True sign of a great player, man. He uses everything for motivation. I'm sure he heard the stuff that was coming out after Glaze comes in and holds his own. He didn't like that. He didn't like that. And then
it's not even like people say. It's not even like people's like, oh man, like Glaze really did a number. It's like, oh man, Glaze didn't get beat too bad. He was like, what? Okay, he didn't. He was like, he held his own, and he took that personally. He's like, oh, he held his own, huh? Okay, we're gonna show you what he about to hold today.
Yeah,
man. Yeah. Well, hey, look, man. Like I said, he's a super competitive player, one of the best players in the NFL, man. Like, he's gonna find a way to motivate himself. But hey, man, that's a good problem to have. That's a good problem. If Max is not over there dominating, and we all know that he's gonna dominate, he's gonna get his. But if we're hearing like these young players that got little to no experience come in and like they're holding their own, I'm gonna take that all day, every day, because it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better at the end of the day. So I'm happy the offense was able to at least, I want to say even the playing field a little, but they were able to catch up. Just a little bit, you know what I mean? Make some plays.
But they're to make some strides. I want to say they caught up. They made some strides.
Yeah, they didn't catch up, but they made some strides. That's the perfect way. I couldn't say any better. But yeah, because at the end of the day, like, the defense is still ahead of the offense.
Yeah.
They're still trying to figure out they're still trying to figure out the starting quarterback right now. Like, they need to figure that out. And right now, Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, we hear some guys they're giving a slight edge to Minshew.
Yes.
But then we hear there's some people saying, it's still kind of even, it's still close. In my opinion, if it's close, I give the edge to Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah.
If it's close. If it's close. Even if it's a little, even if Minshew's a little bit better, I'm still giving it to AOC. Just because, like, it just makes sense to give the young guy the opportunity because he's a second-year player. He's impressionable.
Yeah.
Minshew's been there, done that. Like, he'll come in a pinch and he won't lose any confidence.
See, the problem I have is I have multiple problems. Surprise. But like, if we're this late in the process and we have two guys that are still, like, competing for the job, it's not like neither one. Like, and it's not like a situation where, me and Farrell, we're talking off the line, right? Where Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, they're both having, like, very good camps. Like, both of those guys are, like, bringing out the best in one another. And it's like, man, like, and then that's the situation where it's like, okay, well, we expect Russell Wilson to be the starter, but Justin Fields is playing so well that, he's putting himself into the conversation. I am president and CEO of the Justin Fields is No Good fan club, but we might have to close down if he continues this progress. I might have to shut down the organization. But this is more like, I'm not saying it's a race to the bottom, but neither one of those guys are separating themselves. And it's like we're hoping and praying a guy can separate himself. And, and then you hear about a guy like, I don't think he's really in the competition, but you hear a guy like Anthony Brown, who we hear time and time again, like, one of the best throws of the day came from Anthony Brown. Anthony Brown had the best play of the day on this. Like, why are we hearing about this guy who's, like, not even really in competition having some of the best plays? And that's why I advocated so much for a guy like a Rattler, even if, like, if a guy like Anthony Brown is able to do that, who was on nobody's radar, a guy like Rattler, who, like, has some of the best arm talent, in this past class, I think he will really have inserted himself into this competition, might have even won it. And then and I've been saying it for a while. I think we've all been kind of one mind when it comes to this, in terms of, hey, if it's close, give it to Aiden O'Connell, right? That makes the most sense organizationally. But the more and more I think about it, the more and more I'm not of that mind anymore. If Minshew has the edge, it has to be Minshew. Because if he has the edge and people see, and from all accounts, it's either a tie or Minshew is ahead. And I haven't seen a single person say Aiden O'Connell's winning the competition. And if we say it's a tie or Minshew is slightly ahead and we still give it to Aiden O'Connell, then every coach on this staff has just lost the credibility. They talked about competition. They talk about, you come out here, you got to earn your job. May the best man win the job. And if the best man is Gardner Minshew and we give it to Aiden O'Connell, then that is a slap in the face to everybody you told that to. And that is the quickest way to, I don't think AP will lose the locker room, but people start to look at you sideways. If you say a guy is the best man is going to win and the best man doesn't win, that's when people start to, like, hey, how real are you? So if Aiden O'Connell doesn't win it outright and Gardner Minshew is the top guy, he has to get the job. I think organizationally it makes more sense to give it to Aiden O'Connell, but hey, we've been preaching this competition, so we gotta hold true to that standard.
You make a good point, bro. That's a good point. And if Gardner Minshew starts, this tells me everything that we need to know already about Aiden O'Connell. I'm gonna say it right now that we're gonna be looking for a quarterback next year.
Right.
I think that's what it's going to be. Now, a lot of people are still holding that hope, me being one of them, that Aiden O'Connell can be a starter in this league, because that means, he's on a rookie deal. He's playing above expectation, and we can build around him for the next couple years and build a contender, because we got a quarterback that's on a rookie deal, and you can put pieces around him. I mean, look at what they're giving quarterbacks these days. They just gave Jordan Love $55 million. You know,
Right.
like, so that's where the hope comes in. You kind of hope that you have a guy like Aiden O'Connell who can be serviceable. We're not telling him to be a superstar in this league right now, but be serviceable and get the job done. But if he doesn't start, if that means he's not going to be the guy to start, and Gardner Minshew's in, that means we got to be looking for somebody right away, because that means that he's not ready. And to be honest with you, I don't think he'll ever be ready.
See, no, and I agree. But the only thing I give a little pushback to what Severe said. What you're saying makes sense if it's very clear that Minshew is the better quarterback. When I say that it's a slight edge or if it's close, that means that, you know, it can go either way. You know what I mean? It can go either way. And it's not just the coaches that feel this way. And it's going to be the players. So it's going to be a mix between the players. So I think if the coaching staff ultimately goes with AOC when it's close, or maybe if Minshew had a slight edge and AOC gets the job, I don't think it's going to cause an uproar. I don't think the AP is going to lose the locker room like that. But if it's real clear, like it's obvious, like, for example, like if it was like, I don't know, you know, let's say if we drafted a first round QB, or if it was like Jimmy G, we know how bad Jimmy G is, and, you know, and it was clear that, you know, a young quarterback that we drafted was way better, then now to be something else. But if it's in this type of situation where it's close, I don't think AP is gonna lose credibility or lose the locker room when it's close.
I don't think he'll lose the locker room, right? No, I don't think he'll lose the locker room, but you do lose credibility. You do lose credibility because people, if it's close, if your standard, like once you set the standard, you can't start making exceptions to that standard, right? If my standard is, hey, you know what? On this drill, this is what we do on this drill every single time. If you start letting, okay, well, he didn't do it this time, I'm gonna let that slide. But then that's not your standard. If you set the standard that the best man wins the job, whoever is leading that competition gets the job, then you say, well, you know what, that's what we were going to do, but then we have to make these other considerations and all this stuff, then that's not the standard. So don't tell me that's the standard. If I go out there and you tell me to my face, if I perform better than this guy, I'm the starter, then I do what I need to do and outperform this guy, and I'm not the starter, then it's like, that's a big F you to me, because you at that point you lied to me, because I did what I needed to do.
Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of with both of you guys on this one, and the reason why I say that is because Antonio Pierce, he came in here and he drew hard lines in the sand when it came to, like, hey, best man wins, like you said. This is a competition. He even said it on the press conference today. Everybody's job's on the line. The best man is going to be the starter. Hard line in the sand, right? So, you know, when you start throwing in factors outside of that, like, oh, well, you know, organizationally, things like that, it kind of does make you seem a little bit of a hypocrite. But I think, to Farrell's point, I don't think the team is going to see it that way. Now, guys like me and you and, you know, some critical thinkers out there in Raider Nation is going to see that and be like, wait, didn't you just say that best man wins? But, you know, Gardner Minshew is the guy has a slight edge, but you're throwing Aiden O'Connell in there. Like, that's kind of being a hypocrite a little bit. But on the other side, and I'm not saying that, like, that's, you know, I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. Like, you know, that's what some people might think, you know, because of those hard lines that he established. That's what I'm saying. Now, for, you know, what Farrell said, it's like, it makes sense to give in a slight edge, if it is a slight edge, to give AOC that shot to be the starter, because, you know, it makes sense organizationally, right? Like, if there's both equal, like, it's pretty damn equal, or 51-49 in favor of whichever side, like, you got to give Aiden O'Connell the chance to show that he can do it. Because, you know, if you miss an opportunity, you bench him, but he's that guy. He loses confidence, other things like that. Then you just missed a chance to, expose this guy to be a starter and like I said, build around him and things like that. So I do see both sides, man.
So Mike, just look at it this way, man. Earlier you said that, if we go with Minshew, we know what that means for AOC. And we know what that means for the quarterback position. AOC, what comes with AOC is upside. Minshew, we know what we have in Minshew. You know what I mean? We know what he is at this point. You know what I mean? We can hope that he, I don't think it's not something that we can bet on, but like we can hope like, oh man, he might be a Rich Gannon to this version of the Raiders team. But like that's not something that we can bet on. Like Rich Gannon is an exception to the rule. As much as we like Minshew, we know what he is. He's not gonna have. He doesn't have the strongest arm in the league. He's not a cerebral quarterback like Rich Gannon was, but he is a guy that can buy some time and figure out how to make a play. He's a competitor out there. We get that. Whatever you want to call it. But what I'm saying is that if it's close, then that means that there's gonna be some people that agree with your decision. And there's going to be some people who disagree with your decision. So if we go with a guy like Minshew, I'm sure there's going to be people in the building that will disagree with that decision. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like if go with AOC if it's close, or if it's close enough where you're like, I'm giving a slight edge to Minshew, that means it's pretty damn close. So if he were to go with, let's say, a Minshew, right? If let's say AOC would go with a Minshew, right? There's going to be people who disagree with that move. Bottom line, there's going to be people that's going to disagree with that move. There's going to be in the locker room, maybe coaching staff, Telesco, who knows? There's going to be people that's going to disagree with that move. But if we go with the AOC, it's what I'm saying, it can go either way at the end of the day. That's all I'm saying. It can go either way. And if it can go either way, then why wouldn't you go with a guy that has a lot more, upside? There's a little bit of like, there's a little bit of like
hope has a lot more upside. You don't know what his upside is.
Right.
We hope he has a lot more upside.
But there's a little bit of like, hey, you know what? If he's pretty accurate, if he figures his things out, like if he's comfortable with his weapons, the chemistry's right. There's a little bit of that, but with Minshew, it's different. We know, like, man, hey, we're gonna have to.
So I guess the next question is, do we know exactly what we're getting from Minshew? I mean, we've seen him be a starter for the majority of the season last year. Could we say that if he does start, he has a bevy of weapons that he's never had before in his career? He's given a chance to be a starter week one. He's put in the driver's seat week one because he wasn't the starter at the beginning with the Colts. It was Anthony Richardson off the jump. So, do we know enough from Gardner Minshew to be like, we know what we're getting from him? Because that's another question that you can ask. There's a lot of unknowns with both of these guys. There's the upside with Aiden O'Connell. And then with Gardner Minshew, it's the, hey, maybe in the right situation, we can maximize what he does because he shows glimpses of brilliance sometimes. That's the thought process behind that. So depends on what you see, depends on, organizationally where you want to go. And it's gonna, man, those discussions in that front office between GM, coach, and stuff I would love to be a fly in the wall with that for sure.
Man. Right. And Minshew, probably, we can say that, we have more weapons than the Colts did on offense.
Definitely more weapons.
But he was, you can make an argument that he's probably in a better offensive system, a better offensive play caller with Steichen. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Just as of right now, you know what I mean? That's what we've seen from Steichen. You know what I mean? From the Philadelphia Eagles all the way to the Colts, he's done a good job. You know what I mean? As far as coaching that offense.
But think about it like this, right? Like Shane Steichen, he's one of the best play callers in the league. Turned Jalen Hurts into an MVP candidate, led them to the Super Bowl, had the coach, on the the doorstep of the playoffs. But think about it like this: that offense, right, designed for a guy like Jalen Hurts. That offense designed for a guy like Anthony Richardson. What does Gardner Minshew have in common with either one of those guys? Not a damn thing. So he was able to come in essentially in offenses that weren't really designed for him and have success. And you think about, and this is what I talked about previously. If you look at this QB competition, everything has been essentially set up for Aiden O'Connell to have the most the most success, right? He's has more chemistry with most of these guys already. He should already have a lot of chemistry with Devontae. He should already have a lot of chemistry with Jacoby. He spent essentially all offseason working out with Trey Tucker. Should have some chemistry with Michael Mayer as well. Should also have a rapport with Antonio Pierce, right? And he got to this offense early because he was already here when Luke Getsy was hired. So Gardner Minshew is late to the party. We already talked about how Gardner Minshew is more of a gamer, where some of his skill set is not going to necessarily show up all the time in practice. Some of that stuff, some of that creativity, while you can kind of display it in 11-on-11 stuff, a lot of this stuff is, hey, you know what? When the lights come on, this is the kind of guy I am. And so all these parameters essentially are set up for Aiden O'Connell to have the most success. And the fact that he is not having the most success, he is still behind Gardner Minshew, that is cause for concern. And it's not a question of, I'm not saying it's behind Gardner Minshew. Everybody who's seeing it is saying it's a tie or Gardner Minshew is winning. I haven't seen a single person recently say Aiden O'Connell has the lead. And we talked about this previously, where it could be a situation where, you know what, it's been close this entire time. And now we see Gardner Minshew start to separate himself. And so, I mean, we don't know what Gardner Minshew can be. He's never been in a situation where, hey, you know what, Gardner, this is your team. It's always been a situation where he's the reserve that comes in because of an injury, or he's the fallback option because plan A didn't work. He's never been in a situation where, Gardner, you're a QB1. We want you to have a job. We want you to lead this team. So there's still some untapped potential there. And he's only like 2 years older than Aiden O'Connell. Like, Aiden O'Connell was about to be 26 in September. Gardner Minshew was 28. So it's not like there's some huge gap there where it's like, well, Aiden O'Connell, he's so much younger. He's 2 years younger than Gardner Minshew. So there's still some untapped potential both places. We do have a lot more team control over Aiden O'Connell, which is why, organizationally, it will make the most sense for us to go with him, because we have next year plus 2 more years on a very inexpensive deal. And if he does prove the guy, then really we have next year, 1 more year. We sign him to an extension before the end of that last year. That last year is still a cheap deal. Then an extension will kick in after that year. So, but if he doesn't win the job, like I said, I don't give a damn if it's 51-49. If 51 is Aiden O'Connell, he should win the job. If 51 is Gardner Minshew, if we keep in that standard, then he should be the guy.
I mean, if he's clear-cut the guy, then he's clear-cut the guy. But if it's close, I'm going with the higher upside in AOC. I think what would make AOC lose the job, and we kind of heard, early on in the offseason, we heard Antonio Pierce talk about quarterbacks and the value of being a mobile QB. And then the guy that's more that gives you a little bit more mobility, I wouldn't say he's a mobile quarterback, but gives you more mobility, it's Minshew. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's the wild card in my head. I'm like, if Pierce comes in and it's real close and he's like, because literally, let's be honest here, this is a whole different topic for another day, but Pierce is pretty much essentially coaching for his job this year. Because we don't know the details of his contract. Mm-hmm. What we do know is that we know Telesco is going to be here longer than 1 year. Yeah. But and we know that Telesco is not going to be the scapegoat for the Raiders' failures this year. It's Pierce has been handed a tough deal, but he's been handed a great opportunity to head coach the Raiders. But yeah, like I said, that's a whole different conversation. But I brought it up to just say that Pierce is going to try to win at all. He's going to try to win at all costs. He's going to try to win at all costs, man. But we'll see, man. Hey, look, it's close. It's we probably won't figure it out until preseason. To be honest with you,
probably like after preseason game 2. I'm assuming we might still have a competition going into the third game of the preseason. At that point, you want to sit your starter.
And I heard both Lou Getsy and and Antonio Pierce say that like they really want a guy to just take the job, because what's happening is right now they have to split the reps, and they want the quarterback that's going to start to take pretty much the majority of the reps, so they can get better and get play with the offense a little bit more, gain some chemistry and run the offense. But we'll see, man. I think it's gonna go down to the wire. But yeah, man, let us know in the chat, man. What do y'all think, man? Like, are y'all going with AOC? I'm gonna put a poll out there, man. Y'all better vote. Yeah, is it AOC? Is it Minshew right now? Who you giving the edge right now? From what we're hearing, it's real close. I think Paul Gutierrez, beat writer for ESPN, he covers the Raiders for ESPN. I think he mentioned that it was a slight edge given to Minshew. Take that however you want to take it, but I think it's close. But we'll see, man. But yeah, man. Hey, look, training camp, it continues. First week of padded practice, I think, was a success. I mean, I think, in my opinion, I'm glad that we weren't hearing the Raiders offense getting destroyed. I mean, defense definitely was making plays out there this week, but offense felt like they fought back a little bit. They fought back. Tight ends continue. Man, Brock Bowers right now, man. I'm excited to see him play. I want to see him in that first preseason game. I want to see how much. Do you think they're gonna play the starters that first because there's only 3 preseason games, but you think they're gonna have some?
Yeah. They get at least a drive. They get at least a drive.
Right. Yeah. We'll see, man. But look, hey, we gotta talk to the nation, man. We have to talk to the nation at the end of the day, man. And it's just not in the chat. We see y'all in the chat. We'll be talking to y'all. But you guys gotta leave comments. And comments of the week has returned. And we got some people that we want to talk to, man. They left some good comments. And this first one right here, let me remove this here. You'll see is Reese Rock, man. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate the comment here. He says, when one goes against the NFL's golden boy, so he's talking about Mahomes here. And I think this is, at the time, this is the what are we going to be calling this? Kermit the Frog Gate? Kermit the Frog
Gate.
The scandal.
Muppet Gate.
Muppet Gate. But when one goes against the NFL's golden boy, networks, refs, predictions are targeted against us even more. If this was Jeff, I guess Jeff Goff.
They're talking about Jared Goff.
Jared Goff? Okay, that's what he's trying to say. If this was Jared Goff, there is no noise. Yeah, you might be right. I mean, Mahomes is the face of the league. Yeah. At the end of the day, they'll try to protect him at all costs. I think shout out to Raider Resistance. I seen this when he posted this. Mahomes was the executive or one of the producers for the Receiver documentary.
Yeah.
So interesting enough, when the Raiders played the Chiefs, we didn't get all the sounds from that game, because that Christmas game
off.
Yeah, it might have hurt it a little bit, but Severe, man, let Reese Rock know, man, how you feel about this, man.
Yeah, well, I will say this: I was mad about us not having the Chiefs game featured on there. But when you don't complete a pass for 3 quarters, like what the hell you gonna show? Just show about receivers, bro. You can't complete a pass for 3 quarters. Like what the hell you about to? It's about to be a whole bunch of B-roll. So
that is a good point right there. That's a good point.
But it's like Devontae out there blocking. Look at this block. Devontae threw a hell of a block out there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The Raiders offense scored 3 points that game. 3 points,
exactly.
technically. Yeah,
exactly. So look, But now I agree with Reese Rock, and it's not necessarily that it's not just that it's Pat Mahomes. It's just that, as you said, man, basically he's the face of the league. He's the face of the league right now. He's been in the league. What is it? 6 years? It's 6 years. He won the Super Bowl 3 times. If not for D4 jumping off sides, he might have had 4 rings. So he is the cash cow right now, and of course people are going to talk about it. People are going to talk about it, especially with the history of the rivalry between the Raiders and the Chiefs, that adds just a little bit more fuel to the fire. So it's going to get covered. It's going to get covered. And they're looking for that. And why it's going to get covered is because the NFL, they're planting that seed right now. And the media is planting that seed right now because they want it to be a situation where this happens and then the Chiefs come out there and they curb stomp us, and then they can come back to the story and talk about it and talk about its effect on the game and yada yada, because it's just more reason for them to throw dirt on the Raiders. This is why I'd rather us, hey, you know what? When you're the underdog, when you're a team that's up and coming, just keep your head down and work, right? Keep your head down and work. And I know Trey Taylor, he's a rookie, and I think sometimes, when you're new to the NFL, you don't realize the fishbowl that you're in, right? Everything you do, everything you say is under a microscope, and it's going to be amplified tenfold, right? You're not, what was it with Navy? You're not with Navy no more, bro. Or Air Force. Air Force. Yeah. Never Air Force no more. You're right. You can murder somebody and that wouldn't make the news. Right now, everything you do, especially in the AFC West, and it's involving the Super Bowl champions from last year, they're gonna put a light on it, man. If it was somebody else, like he said, if it was Jared Goff, that might have got talked about a little bit, but it's not gonna be the story that it was, where they were like every sports show basically had something to say about it. So, man, hey, it puts a little bit more pressure on us to get it done when we play against them. But I think hopefully we're in a situation where the leaders on this team, guys like Max Crosby, guys like Christian Wilkins, guys like Nate Hobbs, they're going to go out there and they're going to play for their brother, who made a mistake, but they're going to play for their brother to make their brother still look good.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, it's the Antonio Pierce effect a little bit. Like, I think he gives the Raiders a little bit of swagger, confidence, and belief in themselves. So they went out there and they won in Kansas City, and that was Antonio Pierce doing a great coaching job, but it was also the players competing, and I feel like they believe in themselves. I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, either way, they're gonna find a way to hate on the Raiders anyway. So it's not like even if they didn't say anything, they still would throw some shade and throw some shade. And hey, look, the Chiefs have won the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl last year. They've been winning. They have been winning the division. I don't know how many years in a row. Like, it's crazy right now. So the Raiders, they do need to go out there and let it show on the football field. But we'll see, man. But man, Reese Rock, I appreciate the comment, man. Hey, keep commenting, man. Appreciate the support. But we got another one here for y'all, man. Resplendent Raider in the building, man. Appreciate the comment here. He says, I don't like poking the bear. I guess he's again talking about the Kermit the Frog, man. Kermit Gate, Muppet Gate. He says, I don't like poking the bear because all that does is adds extra pressure to back it up come game day. All we have to hang our hat on is that Xmas game win, which I just mentioned, which was last season. Can't live off the past victories. Can't live off past victories. When a new one, I gotta make this bigger. Right,
when a new season is on the horizon. At the end of the day, that Xmas game was just payback from the ring around the rosy bullshit they pulled on us, in my opinion. I know and understand their hated rivals, but guess what? They looking to three-peat while we still trying to figure shit out. LOL. We need to focus on us and let it play out.
Yeah,
You
Mike.
get some AP glasses, brother. Get them
Look, yeah, man.
get you some AP 3000s.
I'm over here trying to
Yeah.
like have y'all. Hey, great comment, but you know it was a paragraph, so like it gets cut off. But I'm like, and I'm trying to everybody see it, but whew, yeah, I do need to get some AP glasses for sure. It's an inside joke. We gonna show y'all what the AP glasses look like, man. One of these days we gonna have it over.
I'm gonna have to give me a pair of AP glasses.
Man.
But shout out to Splendid, man.
Hey man, everybody getting the Deion Sanders glasses, man. We got to get the AP glasses, man.
Yeah, for real.
Nah.
I thought this was, he made some good points. He said some stuff that I don't necessarily, just foundationally, me as a person, I don't agree with, like the poke and the bear thing. Bro, I was on a 1-9 football team at some point in high school, and it didn't stop me from talking shit to a team that was undefeated. Like,
yeah,
to me, it's the competition, it's the nature of the game to talk a little bit of shit. And when you throw in other people, the third party, the media, then they're the ones that want to be like poke the bear. It's a media talking point. They love to say poke the bear type of deal. Like, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is the guy right now. He's the golden child, like we said, but he's not this dude that can't be beat. We beat him just recently.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I like a little bit of that attitude from the Raiders right now. I like a little bit of the shit talking. I like a little bit of John with the other side. This is the Raiders of the past that we came to know and love. These are the guys that came out back in the day that would really not really care what the rules were. They made the rules. They don't care, who's the other side of them. They dictate what's going on. Now, we kind of lost our way over the last 20 years. Now to the point to where we're like, walk lightly. Don't say nothing about these guys because, if you say that, they're going to whoop our ass. Like, we got to get out of that mindset. And I think that Antonio Pierce, as a Raider fan, he was a Raider fan before. He sees this. He sees that, like, you guys are walking around too lightly. You got to remember that you guys wear silver and black. The origins of the silver and black, it's not that walk lightly. We walk heavy. We walk heavy and we double down if we have to. So that type of mentality needs to keep breeding that, because that's what the Raiders were made of from the beginning, from day one, from 1960 when they were, in 1963 when Al Davis founded this, he changed, he rebranded everything to the silver and black. And then in the 70s when they, were the renegades of the NFL, they went to the beat of their own drum. Like, we need to go back to that. We need to start making more memories. We need to start going out there and being the feared ones again. And I think it starts with, hey, we don't care who you are. We're gonna kick your ass and we're gonna talk about it. And hey, the truth of the matter is, whether or not they talk a bunch of trash, it has no bearing on what's gonna happen in the game later on in the season. Even if they come out humbly and don't say nothing, they can still lose by 40 points. It's happened before, man. Like, so let's take a different approach and just go out there and talk some shit, right? Like, what do we got to lose at this point? That's all I got to say about that one, man.
Mike, I want to ask you this, man, because I heard this from this is not from me originally, but it was from like a media member. I remember it was a while back, and they were making a point about the Raiders and the state of the Raiders and how they, let's be honest, they haven't been winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Raiders haven't been, present in the playoffs, consistently like they were back in the day. Now, speaking of back in the day, the point was that they were trying to make was that the Raiders always are trying to recapture what they did in the past instead of creating something new.
Yeah.
Do you think in order to be successful moving forward, do you think it's a good idea to just try to figure out how you can recapture what you did in the past and use that as a blueprint to be successful in the future, or do you feel like they need to make their own version of the Raiders today in order to be successful?
I think a little bit of both would do it good, right? Like you look historically at the teams that have been successful for years and years and years. The Steelers, they have never really had a losing streak, but they've always rested their hat on having a good smash mouth defense. For as long as the Ravens have been around in existence for 25, 30 years almost, before they were, after they became from the Browns to the Ravens, they've rested their hat on defense, being a hard-nosed defense, having a hard-nosed defense, having a sound run game. Now, Lamar Jackson, of course, he brings a whole new wrinkle to that whole dynamic.
Right.
But their whole foundation is let's play hard-nosed defense. The Bears, hard-nosed defense, same thing. You know them for playing hard-nosed defenses. There's certain teams out there that have that identity that, like, we're going to hit you in the mouth. And the Raiders have that identity. And over the years, somehow, we lost that way. It just disappeared. Now, there's nothing wrong with trying to reestablish an identity, but, let's not like, Max Crosby should wear number 75 because he kind of reminds me of Howie Long. Like, that's the type of stuff that we need to avoid. You could still take a little bit of this, a little bit of that from the past and bring a whole new flair to it in the future. You can do that. But we need to establish an identity that's always been what the Raiders, the silver and black, has always had. We're not every franchise in the NFL. There's special franchises in the NFL that just have that, that identity, The Texans don't have an identity. They can kind of shapeshift in any old way they want to. There's teams that just don't have a certain identity. They can kind of shapeshift. They can be whatever they want to be. But we're the Raiders, and there's a couple other teams in the NFL that have an identity.
Right.
And that's the foundation that I feel like we shouldn't let go of. I mean, it's up for debate on that one, but I think that that's the foundation, and we've been successful with that. Now, we can't be clotheslining people and breaking the rules like we did in the 70s, but we can still be that hard-nosed, you got to deal with us type of team. That's what I'm saying about it.
No, I get you. I get you. It's just having the right people in the building that can actually deliver on that identity, which has been the issue with the Raiders. Al Davis, for a number of years, man, when he was on in his prime, he was able to deliver on that. But the problem was, as he aged, and he still had the same power because he's the owner of the team. You could see how like the team building got away from him. There were times where everybody that spoke to Al Davis in his later years were all like, man, this guy knows so much about football. Like, it's crazy. Like, they've never talked to anybody like that. But, the main issue with the Raiders is having the right people in the building that can deliver on the identity that you're talking about with the Raiders. And hopefully Tommy T right now, man, Tommy Telesco, he's doing his thing right now. He was able to, it looks like this draft class looks like we got something here, but it's early though. It's early. We can't judge a good draft class within the first year. I think 3 years, right? Would y'all say 3 years would be a good?
Yeah, 3 years is good. It's good. Yeah. Good measuring stick.
Solid, man.
I think that member of the media you were talking about, I think his name might be the Severe Raider.
Man. I
remember.
But it's not just you, bro. It's a lot of folks. It's a lot of folks, bro.
Now, I made the point previously talking to Pharaoh. I think I was talking to you and Ray, where I was like, you know what? Like, there are so many Raider fans that we're grasping at ghosts of the past.
Yeah.
And sometimes literally ghosts, right? Dave Casper. But we're grasping at these these shadows from yesteryear, right? And I made a point to saying, where did Al Davis say the greatness of the Raiders was? The greatness of the Raiders is in its future. So you want to pay homage to your past, you want to respect your past, but you also want to learn from your past as well, right? And free agency in the NFL started in like 93, 94 season. I think that
I
was
was just about to bring that up, bro.
that was a year. I think we got curb stomped by the Bills in the playoffs that year on their way to the Super Bowl to lose again. But and we wandered in the desert for years, right? And squalor. And then John Gruden came, and we had at that desert oasis, and we had the palm trees there and some water to drink. And then that oasis dried up, and we were back wandering in that desert once again, trying to find our way. So I think we still have to find our way. And I'm not saying we like walk around with our tail tucked and we're scared. We're still prideful, and we still walk around with our chest up. But like, I don't want us to be scared. But I think about that. There's an old saying. Well, I don't know if it's an old saying, but like from where I come from, there's a saying, right? And when somebody talking about they ain't scared, like, I ain't scared of you. Like, dude, you don't gotta be scared to get your ass whipped. Like, you can still get these hands. You ain't gotta be scared to get these hands, bro. So it's not about being scared. It's just you just at this point, man. Like, I think like what encapsulates this the best is what Devontae was talking about. I think it was on Club Shay Shay. When I was like, Devontae, do you talk trash? And he's like, not really. It's like, I get out there, if it's some guys I respect, if it's me versus Sauce and we're talking. I want to say he even brought, I think he said he had that example when there's another guy on the field, that guy was talking. Then it's like some no name came up, try to talk trash to Devontae. Like, bro, what are you doing here? Like, these grown folks talking right now. And right now we haven't earned that right to talk trash. We have to put it on the field first. Once we start putting it on, and we beat them last year, so hey, that was our bragging rights at that moment. But that's one of those situations where, like, if you're down in this, like, let's say, like, you're like, let's put it in basketball terms, right? If a team is up 3-1 on you or 3-0 on you, and you win the game, like, you shouldn't be celebrating talking trash at the game, bro. You're down 3-1 in the series. Tie the series up, or at least make it a series. Then you can start talking trash, and that's my point. Like, our mind shouldn't be on, hey, you're Kermit, you're this. Our mind should be on, we're preparing every day to be the best team in the league. And part of that process is we're going to beat you. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to do the work. And once we do the work and we complete that job, then we're going to talk trash. Then we're going to let you know. Like, bro, you're a rookie. You ain't even make the team yet. You should be the last person talking. Like, bro, secure a roster spot first. You might not even be on the 53. And if you're on the 53, you might not be on the 48. So shut your ass up and earn your job first, and then you start talking.
Yeah, that's a good point, bro. You got a good point.
He wasn't on that team that won that game against the Chiefs. I think he was just young rookie coming in, just caught up in a moment. He hear the fans, just talking, just playing around. But I think he'll learn. You know what I mean?
I got a question though.
These fans are like this. Sometimes these fans is like these women. They will put you in some situations. They will put you in some situations, bro.
Yeah. Hey, well, I got a question. If it was Max that did this, would you feel any different about it?
Good point.
I don't think I would, because I think Max and Patrick, they have their own like particular rivalry there. And Max talked about it on like the quarterbacks. I want to say in the quarterback series, where him and Patrick, they kind of have a thing going. So that's a little bit different. I still would but I don't think Max would do that. But I don't think Max is the kind of dude that's going to go out there and do that. I think Max understands the job at hand. But I would feel differently if it was Max doing it. I still wouldn't like it, but it wouldn't be as egregious as this dude doing it. Because Max he solidified himself as one of the best players in the NFL, and I think every game he's like, Max is doing what he needs to do to beat the Chiefs. It's the other 47 motherfuckers that is active on game day. They need to step their game up.
Yeah. I think for me it was more, I look at the message and not who's relaying the message. That's what I'm looking at now. You make a good point. Like, when a rookie says it, never even been in a Chiefs Raiders game, like, you never even been in an NFL game, like, yeah, it's kind of have to sit down. So I do agree with that one for sure, man.
But do you think it's a media narrative that a team that talk trash is always going to be a team that hasn't proven anything, right? Is a team that's gonna they'll lose the game, or like does it really impact the outcome?
Has no bearing, bro.
You see what I'm saying? And I think that's what Big Mike is trying to say is like, does it really affect the outcome of the game? It just you know what it does when the team that talks trash loses, it just looks a lot worse. That's what it does. That's what it does. But that's
the people on the outside. It looks bad. Fans, media. Yeah. It looks bad on us because Chiefs fans can come and be like, "Hey, your boy was talking," and like, but the players, they don't, back to the drawing board kind of deal. You know what I mean? Like they're not seeing it that way. It's the fans, it's the media that are gonna blow it up and make it their issue, our issue. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be the players' issues. It's gonna be our issue.
I just thought about when the Dallas Mavericks, when they won the championship. Before that championship season started, Jason Terry, the point guard for Dallas Mavericks, got a tattoo of the trophy, and I'm like, damn, if they would win the. They didn't win, and that was his way of saying that we're gonna win the championship this season. Exactly. And they won the championship. But if they didn't win the championship, like
it would have been a horrible look. But at the same time, like I said, I think sometimes bulletin board material, its effect on the game is overblown. Yeah. But it does have an effect on the game, though. It does have an effect on the game. And I think I think it causes everybody to put an extra bit of attention to detail. You still got to go out there and execute the plays. You still got to have a good game plan. But I think that when there's that extra, like if you ever worked in sales, right? Like that's one of the big things in sales. Like they always talk about like your why. Like why are you doing this, right? That's going to make you push through. Or they tell you they tell you to put up a vision board, right? Like this is your vision board. Or they tell you like to write affirmations on your mirror, like stuff like that, like just to, hey, when I see this reminds me, this is what I'm doing this for. This is why I'm doing it. So I think that having that in front of you, that there's carrots and sticks, and that's a little bit of both. That's a carrot and a stick, because these dudes disrespected you, but at the same time, you're looking forward to that moment where, hey, you know what? I get to pay back that disrespect on the field. So I think it does have some effect. I think sometimes the effect is overblown, but I think there is an effect there.
Yeah, it's the between the whistle that doesn't matter. But the scoring the touchdown that's about to happen, or if you're already getting your ass beat, then hey, let's score one more time, for what he said. And that's when it matters, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or let's do a ring around the rosy.
Yeah. That, right? And then you could turn around and be like, oh, well, they scored an extra touchdown when they didn't need to. Let's use that. That's bulletin board material. Like, it just never ends. You know what I mean? You could just constantly just get your ass beat on a weekly basis. You know what I mean? It doesn't like, oh, they're going to score 50 points because you said that. Like, they're going to score 50 points regardless of what you said.
Well, you know what?
Or you're going to lose regardless of what you said. Like, that's just how I see it, man.
Yeah, but you know what? At the end of the day, no matter what happens, we're gonna remember this moment, no matter what. Definitely. If the Raiders win or lose, they're gonna be like, you remember when Trey Taylor, the rookie?
Definitely,
they're gonna talk about it. And is the first Chiefs game televised, nationally televised? I think that's the only televised game.
Is that the Black Friday game?
It might be. It might be the first
No,
Chiefs
the first
game.
one is not. The first one's not. The second one. The
is
Black Friday
Friday
game is. Yeah.
Okay. And all right. So it's not gonna be nationally televised. All right. So, but either way,
we talk about nationally though.
They're gonna talk about it.
They might flex that mug if we winning.
Yeah, man.
They might flex that mug.
Yeah. No matter what, they're gonna talk about it. Win or lose, they're gonna talk about it. And I'm sure if we lose the entire media, you know how the media is they're gonna jump all. But if the Raiders win, we might talk about it. You know what I mean? We might talk about it. You know, our media, the media, local media might talk about it. I don't think the national media is gonna talk about it as much. Which is,
and that's the problem. That's the problem I have with it is that
Exactly.
if the Chiefs do it, then the whole ESPN, everybody's going to talk about. That's going to be leading story.
Right.
And then if the Raiders win, ain't nobody going to talk about it, bro. It's like, oh well, the Chiefs just had a bad day. What did the Chiefs do wrong? Like, what's wrong with them?
Yeah.
You know, not what the Raiders did right. It's never. You know what I mean? That's the part I have a problem with.
That is a fact. If we win, they might mention it like one time and then it'll never be spoken about again. But if the Chiefs beat us, it'll be they're gonna play that clip over and over. And we won't hear the end of it.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, man, that only thing that matters.
Just win, baby.
That's really what it come down to, it, man. The Raiders just gonna have to win. They just gonna have to win.
Man.
But just to move it along, man, extra point, man. It's a new segment, man, where we talk about our final thoughts of what happens around the league, around the NFL, including the Raiders. We're gonna each talk about something that caught our eye. Mike, I know you want to talk about this, man. This is something that you're like, hey, man, I got to talk about this. Well, what's on your mind, man? What's the extra point here?
The extra point is the John Madden 25 ratings for the Vegas Raiders. There are certain ones that I'm like, okay, this is crazy. And you see it right there, Jack Jones, Madden weak as F. He got a 74 overall grade. I think that's wild, man. I feel like Madden's in on what the media is doing too. And then they're gonna -5 each player if you just wear silver and black. And let's talk about it a little bit more as far as what they're doing now. Like, you remember, they put Christian McCaffrey on the cover, getting, outrunning some Raiders players. That play has never happened in the history of football. They AI'd a fake play to put the Raiders in there. Like,
man,
you guys should really, as Raider fans, feel disrespected, because they're finding new ways to disrespect us on a weekly basis, it seems like. And I'm gonna say this: college football 25 is better than Madden anyway. So Raider fans, don't even buy the Madden game. Don't even buy it. Get the college football game is way better anyway.
No, for real, man. If we're just looking at some of the ratings here, shout out to Tristan Kuhn. He says he has some of the ratings here, some of the players here. As you can see, let me move this a little bit here so everybody can see this. So you can see Madden 25 QB ratings. You got Gardner Minshew, who is highly thought about here on the Raiders roster here, man. 73 rating. You know what I mean? Hey, man, he might get that. He might get that starting QB job right here. Madden is predicting it right now. They got him at 73. Aiden O'Connell 67. The forgotten quarterback that no one wants to talk about, Carter Bradley 59. Anthony Brown at 57.
They doing Anthony Brown dirty.
They doing him dirty, man. They doing him dirty. But hey, man, hopefully he balls out in preseason if he gets any PT, because with the way this QB battle is going, like, they might be playing the entire the first 2-3 quarters. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure, but
with Aiden O'Connell, he has the same overall record, overall grade as he did on the previous Madden.
Right.
I think that, I don't know. I'm not saying he needs to be in the 80s or anything like that, but he needs to be at least 71, 72.
Yeah.
Like, 67 is real low. He's rated below guys. It says right there, Justin Fields, Andy Dalton, Kenny Pickett, Bo Nix, Mac Jones, Sam Darnold. Like, he's Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, what are we talking about, bro? Like, I don't understand it, man. I'm not saying that Aiden O'Connell needs to be, the next 99 overall guy. I'm not saying that, but
right.
67, like Jack Jones 74. Now, they did show love to our rookies. I will say that. They gave Brock Bowers a pretty, I would say, a good initial grade, 78.
Yeah.
JPJ 75. I'll take that. Glaze is 69. Like, pause on that whole statement, but like it's definitely initially those are good grades. Those are good grades for rookies coming in. So I don't have any problem with the rookie grades. It's just Aiden O'Connell and Jack Jones really, like, I don't know, man. And Max Crosby deserves a 99 at some point. Hopefully he gets that 99 when it's all said and done.
I believe Max got a
97, I think.
97, yeah.
So, which
It's
is
coming.
it's a pretty good rating on Madden. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's just a video game," but hey, man, this is part of the culture, man. We
guys pay attention to that, man.
We
What makes this an extra bad is that, like, John Madden was the head coach of the Raiders.
I know, right?
That just makes this extra bad. It's like, bro, he was head coach of the Raiders, and y'all just constantly hating on the Raiders, man, like all the time. It's crazy. I remember, like, they would do stuff like that with, like, well, no, it's a poor example, but like I think they did something like that with Henry Ruggs, where like they was doing stuff with his speed rating. Like Henry Ruggs should have been, like, you know, like one of the faster players in the league, and like they were like playing with it. It was crazy stuff, man. But yeah, like, yeah, man, Madden weak as F.
Yeah.
No, and it is, man. But you know what, we got to talk about it. But hey, man, let's get into the next extra point, man. I guess it's gonna be on me. Let me go see if I could just set this up here. Let's see. All right. So this week, man, I think, or as of recently, they've been releasing the top 100 lists. We've talked about it, I think, on the 50-50 show. We might have talked about this on Around the Shoot as well. You know, Max Crosby obviously was one of the guys we were looking at where he was going to be ranked. Devontae Adams, we were kind of like, man, he's ranked 40th after being ranked 13th last year. It's like, man, that's a huge drop-off. Yeah. We know that he's better than that. I think Christian Wilkins was ranked 58th on the list. So, you know, take that for where you want to take it. But, man, when I say the league, the players, man, how they feel about Max Crosby, they're high. They feel highly about him, man. He was ranked number 10, top 10 in the NFL top 100 list, man. That's a huge honor. This is pretty much a player's list, a player's top 100. So this is respect from the players. I don't think no writers, no media members, no fans are voting for this. This is exclusively players around the NFL who are voting, and they have him number 10, which is a huge honor. And I think I seen somewhere where, if I could read it here, if I could find it. Let's see if I can find it here. Shout out to Josh DeBow. He had an interesting tweet here. He says Max Crosby was the first player to make the top 10 NFL 100 following a season for a team with a losing record since 2020 list, when Christian McCaffrey was 6th following 5-11 season with the Panthers. So, hey, man, shout out to him, man. Like, usually this is another reason, like, man, if the Raiders just win, Max Crosby's going to get some respect around the NFL, man.
Yeah, a lot more, yeah. Yeah.
Fact.
I mean, and I feel like they, you know, I find some pettiness in everything. They put Kelsey at number 9. Like, right in front of Max Crosby. Like,
yeah.
Bro, I got to find pettiness in everything.
Yeah.
Like, Crosby should be 9 and Kelsey should be 10. Like, I'm putting that out there right now. Like,
well,
hey.
What I do agree with this list, you know, we can argue where Max Crosby ranks in this top 10 list, and yeah, that is kind of a coincidence that a Chiefs player is ranked number 9 and is ahead of a Raider player. It is what it is.
No coincidence.
Yeah, I know. They did win the Super Bowl, so I guess they got that. But that being said, if you look at the list overall and you look at T.J. Watt, okay, that's a player that plays the same, pretty much the pass rusher, edge player that Max Crosby plays. And then let's see, we got Trent Williams, best offensive tackle in football. Chris Jones, best defensive tackle in football. They list him as a DN, but we know he's a defensive tackle. Myles Garrett, that's another, counterpart to another guy that that plays the same position as Max Crosby. And as we go through the list, which I thought this was surprising, Patrick Mahomes.
That's wild, bro. Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes being number
crazy.
4. Come on, man. I'm taking Patrick over Christian McCaffrey. Respect to Christian McCaffrey. Great player, but come on, man. Nah. And even Lamar Jackson. Respect Lamar Jackson. Come on, man. Mahomes, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. Like, this is...
I would even argue and say that.
This is hate. This is hate. This is hate. I'm not going to lie. I'm a Raider fan, and I hate Mahomes and the Chiefs, but this is hate. This is hate. Come on.
Yeah, fact.
Let's be honest.
He should be at least 2, at the very lowest.
Exactly.
But the number 1 player in the NFL, they got Tyreek Hill as the best player in the NFL, who was having a great season until he got hurt, but he still finished with a great season overall. And the only reason why I said before he got hurt, I think he was on his way to break a record, most receiving yards in NFL history if he were to stay healthy, which he did get hurt. So I think he finished. What did he finish with?
1799, bro.
Right there, 17, basically 1,800 yards on 119 receptions. There you go, and 13 receiving touchdowns. So
Crazy.
Great season by him, and it got him the number 1 spot. I would think Mahomes would be number 1 back-to-back years, but it is what it is. But at the very least, he should be number 2, which is crazy. But enough about Mahomes. My point that I was trying to make is this is exactly how I feel about Max Crosby. You see Myles Garrett, you see TJ Watt, top 3 at his position. I think Max Crosby, you can say confidently he's top 3 in position. Now, all these lists that we've seen around here, they have him, top number 7 and number 6. You know what I mean? At his position, that's crazy. No, Max is definitely, if the players got something right, I feel like they got that right. I think he is a top 3 player at his position. That's just my opinion. But shout out to Max Crosby. Huge honor. Top 10 player. Last time a player has been top 10 for a Raider, I believe, was none other than Khalil Mack. I believe Khalil Mack was the last top 10 Raider player. So shout out to Max, man.
I think last year Josh Jacobs was number 12. And guess what? Nigga ain't on the list this year.
Man.
You said he's not on the list this year?
Not on the list this year. He went from number 12 to not on the list.
Man, that's crazy, man. It's a year-to-year league, man. Because look, hey, like Devontae went from 13 to 40th. Like, damn, like just how much a year changes. But still top 100 player, man. Still respected around the league. But that being said, that is my extra point for this week. Severe. Let the people know, man. What's your extra point this week?
Yeah, man. So my extra point this week has been the much anticipated debut of the new kickoff rule, man. Everybody was curious to see what this thing looks like. It's probably the biggest change the NFL has made to a rule, the biggest and the most obvious change the NFL has made to the rule book in quite some time. I think it literally has the ability to transform how the game is played, transform strategy, transform how rosters are being built. It has the potential to make a huge impact, on the NFL as a whole. And they spoke about player safety. I think that's part of it, but I think they also want to infuse more importance into that third phase of the game. And we got to see a little bit of it in action. And just to be completely completely honest, it was kind of weird and a little underwhelming now. This is the preseason. So, and it was not even just preseason. This was like the preseason to the preseason, because this is a Hall of Fame game. So it's not even like, this is like AAA ball if you looking at baseball. But so it's not like the fastest, most skilled guys we're going to see. But just looking at it, it's different. Like just this picture right here says it all. Just the kicker standing there by himself. Like, this is the first time we've ever seen the kicker standing there by himself. And just for people to know, like, now there is a kicking zone. It's from the goal line to the 20, and the ball has to land within that zone. If it's landed within that zone, it must be returned or downed. If it lands short of that zone, that counts as like basically kicking the ball out of bounds. If it goes into the end zone and is touched and downed, it goes to the 30-yard line. If it goes to the back of the end zone, it goes to the 30-yard line as well. So the incentive is for people to return these kicks, and hopefully they can break off a big return.
Let's take a look and see.
That is weird.
That is weird, but yeah,
I echo my guy's sentiment. That is weird. But if you look at even if you look at the play, if a guy gets a better block, he has the opportunity to do a little something right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he can get to like the 40-45 yard line.
If it's blocked up, he breaks some tackles, he's gone.
Yeah,
he's gone.
Like a man, like imagine a guy like Josh Cribbs, doing this, or I think he's still in the league. Like this guy, I mean, we talked about how it transformed the league. Cordell Patterson got a nice little contract, just because his ability to return kick. He's the greatest kickoff returner of all time. Devin Hester is probably the best all around returner, but in terms of just kickoffs. And I don't think there's ever a guy that did it better than Cordell Patterson, and he got paid just for this.
But you can see how like a running back, even like a Deebo Samuel type receiver, would excel in this type of situation right here, man. Like, but I will say too, another aspect is like I feel like a player will get smacked over here. I know they're closer, and they're not going full speed as much as full speed and as crazy they did back in the days or as recently as last year. But if you look at like you could tell like players can get really hit with this new rule change, just because they're so close. Like they're able to like really size up the player. Like if you see, look like right here.
Oh, somebody got flapjacked on that number 25 for the Texans.
Yeah.
Yo.
But also to make a point about how things will be changed, I heard something interesting, and the Raiders try to deny this. The special teams coordinator tried to deny this, Todd McMahon, because the beat writers seen Jack Jones kicking off kickoffs.
Returning kicks.
Yeah. Or not just returning kicks, but also like actually kicking the ball off. Because a big part of with the rule change, and I feel like it was the XFL I think has this type of kickoff, right? And they said that 40% of the kickers in the XFL that have this type of formation as far as kickoffs, they were tackling the ball carrier. 40%.
Wow.
So it probably makes sense to have the kicker be a short tackler, and the fact that it's a short distance, it makes it easier for guys that don't really have like a strong leg, you know what I mean? This might even change position overall. Like we might not be seeing guys with the strongest legs, or we might see them, but there might be really specialty kickers. Like they only going to kick field goals and that's it. You know what I mean? And the actual kicker is going to be like a linebacker. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. I mean, as some of these guys can. I mean, look. Our old friend Marquette King, man, there's a team called him. He was a guy that was pretty athletic, had a pretty good leg, and he's former wide receiver if I recall correctly. So he's a guy that should be able to get out there and chase down a ball carrier if need be. Don't know what his technical looks like.
I don't know, man. I kind of like the idea of a strong safety or linebacker kicking off. If tackling is going to be a premium,
if it falls short of the 20-yard line. They get the ball at 30.
Yeah. And that's something that they can. But the thing is, the fact that it's shorter, it makes it possible. Like I think that list becomes bigger for players to kick the football. Like, you know what I mean? So I just think that like if they, what's interesting is the Raiders denied it. And the beat writer's like, it was clear as day. Like, it was hella obvious that he was. So they're trying to keep this on the low. Like, they're
That dude.
Hey,
That's one
but
thing they're not
I'll
supposed to
say,
do too. Like they're not supposed to reveal strategy. That dude probably not coming back to whoever it was. He ain't coming back to training camp.
he's done.
His pass got revoked. Like what? Like yeah, man. I
Hey,
saw the
I
Raiders. What
will.
they're gonna do is, man, they're gonna have Brock Bowers a quarterback, and he's gonna hand off to Dylan Lop. Like, what are you doing, bro? Why are you telling him to play? Like,
Shut up.
Yeah. No.
Hey, I will say this though. We won't be seeing somebody like Sebastian Janikowski's big ass kicking the ball.
Yeah.
Because that man, there is no way.
So it's not gonna, because I was thinking about it. I was like, man, this might, like, all those kickers with strong legs, like it won't be a premium as it was. But then I was thinking about it, like, nah, it still is, because they got to kick, they got to kick field goals. So it's like, it's just one less responsibility that they're gonna have. Because think about it, if kickoff returns touchdowns go up, you're gonna want to be able to have someone out there that can tackle, like, and if that makes a difference, because he's the kicker's the last line of defense when it comes to these kickoff returns. So we'll see, man.
Yeah. Hey, man, you know what? Like, I gotta put this out there. Like, just picture this, right? Like, part of the whole kickoff thing was the whole aesthetic of it, right? It brought the drama to the football game, right? You're getting hyped up for the game. You're already hyped up to see the opening kickoff. You know, the guys on the kickoff team are jumping around, you know, hyping each other up.
Yeah.
We're gonna need that kicker to be a lot more hyped than what he was from the beginning, to kind of match that level of drama, to match that level of hypeness that we grew up being used to, that opening kickoff, regardless if it was returned or not. Like, you would get so hyped to see that opening kickoff the first week of the season, first preseason game. You get hyped for that kickoff. The kickoff is what really kicked it off, right? That's what really started the game. That didn't really make me feel like it didn't give me the warm and tinglies. You know what I mean? Like it didn't.
It's some of the pageantry, like when you're kicking off, then all the guys are like moving in unison, and then like they take off running. It's like, yo, it's like I feel what you're saying, man. I feel what you're saying.
Any given Sunday part 2 ain't gonna be as good, man.
Exactly, right?
It ain't gonna be the same. You know what I mean? But I hear what you're saying. It does take a little bit of, like, it just, you know, it is what it is, man. That comes with change. Sometimes it's an adjustment period, and you know, part of the NFL is all about, like, they're just trying to find ways to make more money, score points. But you know, they did mention player safety. But, like, man, at the end of the day, it's, you know, 255-pound players are going to be running into each other with 4-3. You know, it's just like players are going to get hurt. We'll see how it shakes out, man. But it's for right now, it is kind of like, you know what's gonna make what's gonna make us feel better about it. You know what's gonna make Dylan Lobby taking it all the way for a touchdown?
Oh yeah.
Trey Tucker taking it all the way for a touchdown. Oh, he makes a man miss, and you know the rest is history. Takes it all the way for a touchdown, bro.
Look, this is, but imagine this, right? And imagine this. This is crazy. But imagine the situation, right? Like 13 seconds, and another part of the rule is that, you know, now teams they can't do an onside kick to the fourth quarter, and they have to announce their intention to do an onside kick. So no more surprise onside kicks anymore. Like, can't do it to the fourth quarter, and you have to actually say, we're going to do an onside kick, so the team knows you're doing an onside kick. So it's not really a lot of incentive to do that anymore. But imagine it's like fourth quarter, right? The Raiders down by 4, and the other team they just scored a touchdown to take, you know, to get them a 4-point lead. What do the Raiders do? They put Brock Bowers back there to return the kick.
Ooh.
Brock Bowers with the ball in his hand. We all recognize, hey, this not to be a every kickoff thing. Yeah. But if we need a score, and now we know we have an opportunity to score on these kicks,
hey, we're all on the same page.
Back there and let him do his thing.
Yeah, we're all on the same page. You can tell what type of player would excel in this type of situation right here, where you just gotta have vision, and you gotta be able to break a tackle, because there's literally, it's just the kicker. After that first line, it's just the kicker.
Yep. Yeah, man.
It could easily get blocked up with just one cut, boom. You know what I mean? You could see it happening. So I like where you're going with there, Severe, man. Look at Brett. You see what I'm saying? Severe, y'all over here hating on Severe. Look, he's showing love to Brock Bowers right here, man. Look, at the end of the day, hey, that's a good one, bro. Hey, look,
yeah, you blew my mind with that one, bro.
That's kind of, and you know what's interesting too is, man, just hearing Nate Hobbs talk about Brock Bowers, how shocked he was when he had to be matched up with them. He was like, I thought I was just gonna be, just jog a little bit, kind of like take my time because he's a tight end, but he's like, oh, nah, I can't do that. Like he treat him like a receiver.
Nah, facts. I mean, he's essentially. I mean, that's what he's a big slot receiver, essentially.
So that just tells you the type of explosiveness he got. But man, hey, it's been a great show, man. Great show. That wraps up Extra Point. Appreciate all the comments of the week. Make sure to leave comments after the video. Let us know your thoughts. So you'll be featured for comments of the week, man. And you know what? Hey, let us know in the chat, man. Like, what should we name? We want to change that name, comments of the week. It is a little too generic, man. So let us know in the comments or even in the chat right now, man. Just let us know if you guys have any ideas of what to call comments of the week and the best name. Well, that's what we'll name it. We'll name that segment. But yeah, man, it's been a great show, man. Hey, look, Severe, let the people know where they can find you and what to look forward to, man.
Oh, man, you guys already know what it is. The Severe Raider here on YouTube, on IG, Snapchat, X, TikTok. I'm thinking about making a Twitch, man. I'm thinking about making a Twitch. I gotta see what's up with that, man. See what's up with that.
If you're making a Twitch, you better get Madden. If you're making a Twitch, you better get Madden. We on it. Or Mike, you on that 25? That college football 25?
Bro, I played that like half the day today, bro.
Man, hey, man. If y'all getting Twitch, man, I'm gonna have to get that.
I got a PlayStation 5. I don't even touch, bro.
Yeah,
I haven't played anything in I don't know how long. But
if I do play a game though,
there's NCAA might bring me back, but I also heard that they're remaking Snake Eater, Metal Gear Snake Eater.
Yeah.
So once that thing comes out, I'm probably on that all day. Metal Gear is like my favorite game series.
my bad. I'm gonna have to give you one of these. No, I'm just
you mess with the Metal Gear? Man, Metal Gear is
Come on,
man.
Favorite. Come on. I thought you were gonna say NBA 2K. I thought you were gonna say something like a call it something.
I played all that stuff before. Metal Gear is that's nostalgic, man. That takes me all the way back to my youth.
All right.
But yeah, man. You guys know what it is, man. Around the Shield, new day, new time, but same great content. 50 show, you already know what it is, man. I got some stuff. I'm just trying to figure out a day to drop my solo stuff. But that's gonna be coming soon. But yeah, man. Hey, man, do me a favor. Make sure y'all leave a comment. Make sure you leave a like. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, and in the comment section, man, let us know what you feel about this quarterback situation, man. If you for Gardner Minshew, leave that 15 down there. If you're for Aiden O'Connell, hey, leave that new number, that 12. We usually don't, like they say in the hood, usually don't rock with 12. Some of our other older audience might not know what that means, but ask your coworkers at work. They'll tell you.
Yeah.
Nah, but hey, Mike, man, let the people know where they can find you, man, what to look forward to, man.
Yeah, man. So you can find me at Big Mike Raider, YouTube, IG, X. Thinking about that Twitch as well. That'd be pretty cool. Let me know if you guys think that's a good idea. I'm also thinking about doing a membership kind of deal on the channel. I'm kind of debating it. I don't want to, do a membership and not bring something back to you guys. I'm still kind of brainstorming that, but brainstorming it. We'll see where we're at with that one. So you can find me there. And then you can find my burner account, Angry Raider 2424 on X. Tune in, man. But yeah, that's all I got, man.
There you go, man. Yeah, man. Hey, man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, clock out at this point. Like the thumbs, Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. Yeah, hey man, hey, it's been a great show. We're gonna be dropping this every Saturday morning, so tune in. So you want to make sure you hit that notification bell when we drop this episode every week, and every Monday nights, man. Me and Severe, man, the 50-50 show. Hey, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every time we drop the show. It's Monday nights, man. Monday nights, it's guaranteed Monday nights. So you hit that notification bell. So you'll be notified. But hey, man, it's been a great show. We appreciate everybody coming through. Till next time, peace.
Just win, baby. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.